Lu Xun was a great Chinese modern writer, thinker, revolutionary, educator, and democratic fighter, an important participant in the Chinese New Culture movement, and one of the founders of modern Chinese literature. He had a profound impact on the intellectual and cultural development of China after the May 4th movement, and was renowned worldwide, especially in the intellectual and cultural fields of South Korea and Japan, where he had an extremely important status and influence and was hailed as the writer who occupies the largest territory on the 20th century East Asian cultural map. His works include The Wandering, The Call to Arms, The Diary of a Madman, and The True Story of Ah Q. Lu Xun, formerly known as Zhou Zhengshou, changed his name to Zhou Shuren, a native of Shaoxing, Zhejiang Province. Born on September 25, 1881, in Dushangfeng, Shutangmen, Shaoxing, Lu Xun spent his childhood and adolescence there for 17 years, before going to the Jiangnan Naval Academy in Nanjing in May 1898. Lu Xun was born there. He played in the 100 Plants Garden, studied in the 3 Flavors Studio, and knew many flavors of life in the Hengji Pawn Shop, Changqing Temple, Xianheng Tavern, Earth and Grain Monastery. These memories have become the local customs and folk culture of Shaoxing in Lu Xun's writings, making readers yearn for them. The Zhou family, of which Lu Xun was a member, moved to Shaoxing during the Ming Changhua period and gradually became a typical scholarly family, with many people passing the imperial examinations and obtaining official ranks. Lu Xun's grandfather, Zhou Fucheng, passed the imperial examinations in 1871 and was appointed as a junior scholar at the Hanlin Academy. He later served as the county magistrate of Jingxi County, Jiangxi Province, and the assistant secretary of the imperial cabinet. At the time when Lu Xun was a child, the Zhou family was a wealthy family, and the prosperous family conditions allowed Lu Xun to live a carefree life for a while. Lu Xun's grandfather advocated for free reading. This provided Lu Xun with the opportunity to know new things in the traditional education. In his letter to Lu Xun's father, Lu Xun's grandfather specifically recommended a method for studying the classics to his grandsons. Lu Xun's grandfather sent the quintessence of poetry of Tang and Song dynasties to his grandsons from Hangzhou. The attached letter asked them to read ancient poems. Lu Xun's father, Zhou Fengyi, was an enlightened thinker and a sympathizer of the westernization movement in late Qing dynasty. Lu Xun's mother, Lu Rui, was kind, resolute, and courageous, with an open-minded attitude. She had a great influence on Lu Xun. At the age of 7, Lu Xun entered a private school to study. The first 4 books he read and loved were an ancient classic, The Classic of Mountains and Rivers, A Brief History of China, The Summary of 4-Character History. Lu Xun hand-copied the poems of his uncle Zhou Yushan, the Zhuzi Poems of Mirror Lake, a book on flower cultivation, The Mirror of Flowers, with Lu Xun's annotations. As a young boy, Lu Xun enjoyed reading various books. The elderly gave Lu Xun a book on filial piety, The 24 Filial Deeds, a Japanese scholar's 18th century book on explaining animals and plants in the Book of Songs, the pictorial explanation of the poetry of the Book of Songs, the comprehensive encyclopedia of early learning, compiled by Zhu Jian and others in ancient China. In Qing Dynasty, Fan Yin collected Yu region dialects and folk proverbs, the Yu Yan, both the Analects, the Mencius, and the Rites of Zhou, which were both ancient Chinese classics and required readings for imperial examinations. Lu Xun had a keen interest in painting and often used his pocket money to buy illustrated books. These are the paintings of Shanghai celebrities, the Poetry Cruise, and the Point Stone's Eye cluster painting that he purchased. Lu Xun liked reading unofficial history books. which helped him learn the unofficial vision of Chinese history and society, without being deceived by proper history with too much embellishment and too much superfluous talk. The 100 Plants Garden was where Lu Xun and his friends used to play when he was a child. Although there were piles of bricks and weeds, the trees, vines, and birds and insects in the garden brought him a lot of joy. Shallow baskets could be used to catch birds in snow. Dog teaser could be used by poultry keepers in Shaoxing. Hens can stretch their necks in to eat, but dogs can only look on furiously. The prototype for running to in Lu Xun's short story My Old Home was Zhang Fuking's son Yanshui, who helped work in Lu Xun's family. They first met in the kitchen of Lu Xun's family and became good friends. The Three Flavors Studio was a private school opposite Lu Xun's home, where he studied from the ages of 12 to 17. Three flavors mean Confucian classics taste like rice, history tastes like dishes, and the philosophies of different schools like vinegar and meat taste. Lu Xun praised his teacher. He was the most upright, honorable, and erudite man in our town. Lu Xun was once criticized by the teacher for late to school, so he had engraved a Chinese word early on it. This story has inspired many Chinese students to learn from Lu Xun. In 1893, when Lu Xun was 13 years old, his grandfather Zhou Fuking was caught and put in prison for bribing the head examiner of the Zhejiang provincial examination. In order to save Zhou Fuking, Lu Xun's family sold some of their ancestral land and pawned gold and silver jewelry, which led to the family's descent into poverty and decline, and also changed the course of Lu Xun's life. Lu Xun's father was also implicated in the examination scandal and became moody and seriously ill. Lu Xun often went to pawn shops and pharmacies to buy medicine for his father, feeling the harshness of the world. The living environment and family tragedy during Lu Xun's youth growth experience had a significant impact on his thoughts.